Devy Degens, welcome into another episode. Today we are just talking the big noon games. Week 1 of college football is here, and Tommy and I want to get together to break down what we saw and some of the big moments on today's college football. All that right after the intro.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamond shining. Only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go.
Devy Degens, we are back with another episode. I'm S.C. Romero, my co-host Tommy Harvey. Tommy Harvey, how did you like Tennessee this week?
I thought they looked pretty good. Defensively, they were a little soft at times, but I thought offensively they clicked pretty well, especially in the first half. The second half, they got a little conservative, but that's just because they were holding the lead.
There you go. We're going to get into more of the Tennessee talk because for a time now, you've been saying Tennessee's the real UT. And that may hold true today because I feel the question all week is going to be, is Texas for real? Are they legitimately a number one? Archie Manning had his struggles, kind of, did pretty well towards the end there, had his things. It was things, it was like this is expected. But I think a lot of people in general might just be in awe that it was just a 14-7 game versus Texas versus Ohio State. I feel some people may have thought, oh, this is going to be a shootout between Archie Manning, Julian Sayin, and the Ohio State wide receivers. What were your takeaways from this game? Is Texas in trouble, or do people need to, push the brakes a little bit there?
I mean, you're talking two top 3 teams right here. I don't necessarily think Texas is in trouble. There's just two really good defenses going up against each other. First game of the season, it was Arch's first game against a real team. So he had his moments. He had his moments where he looked really good. Then he also has moments where he looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Sayin did too.
I think Sayin did too. Just the defense kind of won out for Ohio State a little bit. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, that's just kind of what it was. Ohio State was the host team. So, I mean, they were, probably they were expecting themselves to go in there and win that game.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, if that game had been in Austin, then maybe it turns out a little different. Or if it's a neutral site game, it's possibly a little different also. So.
That's a game I feel like it should have been at a neutral site just for how big it was, caliber-wise. The storylines that could have been behind it could have been neutral. I get Ohio State still the championship, so they get the home field advantage there. Jeremiah Smith, had a couple drops there early on, kind of redeemed himself. Cardinal Tate came away with a touchdown there. Any worries about that wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith?
No. I mean, he's the best wide receiver in the country. There's no issues there. He dropped one because he kind of took his eyes off of it. He started to run before he had the ball. And then another one kind of looked like he was expecting a little bit more zip on the pass that Sayin was getting knocked backwards while he was throwing it, so the ball didn't quite get to him the way he expected it to get to him.
Right. Well, no, I mean, it's still, again, week 1, as you mentioned, this is kind of get the jitters out of, the Archie Manning will bounce back with Texas. And the best thing is this was a non-conference game, so technically it shouldn't have that much of an effect if they go out there and still dominate the SEC. But with that, we did see some flaws. It's like, okay, go back there, watch the tape, reevaluate, and then just step back in like it's ground zero again, right? Like nothing happened. You got to go there and make some big plays there. Baxter looked good again, too. I mean, Baxter, he looked pretty nice. Didn't lead the team in carries. That was Trey Wisner. But still, Baxter, it's nice seeing him back on the field. I think they can be a solid 1-2 punch moving down as well.
Yeah, Wisner had 16 carries. Baxter, I think, had 10. But Baxter also had 5 catches. So he definitely got his touches in.
Yeah, actively involved there. So you love to see it there. Those are going to be two teams obviously we're going to monitor the whole season through just because of how big they are, and they're both potentially playoff if not national titles, where we might see this rematch in the playoffs. There is what we're trying to say at that point. But moving forward, as I mentioned, you've been saying UT is the real, or Tennessee is the real UT. Talk to us about that. I know you mentioned the offense looked a little good. What players stood out for you in Tennessee, though?
Yeah, I thought Joey Aguilar looked really good. He made a couple high throws, but even the ones he threw high still hit the receivers in the hands. They got to catch them.
Yeah.
I would count those more against the receiver than him. The receivers got to catch the ones that him in the hands, right? But other than that, he looked really good. He was really mobile. Made a couple really nice runs. Then made a really nice deep throw to Braylon Staley, a 73-yard touchdown pass.
There you
Kind
go.
of what I've been saying. I think he's a better deep ball thrower than what Nico was last year and what Joe Milton was the year before. I don't think he's Hendon Hooker, but I think he's better at what Tennessee needs him to be than what their two previous quarterbacks were.
That says a lot, because a lot of you love the arm from Joe Milton, and Nico had that smoothness elusiveness, but maybe it's not, like you said, what the quarterbacks needed or what Tennessee needed at that quarterback position. The running backs, I know we talked a little bit about the Sean Bishop and what he could do. He did look nice, but also Star Thomas did look good. Transferring, correct, Star Thomas?
Yeah, transfer from Duke. He was also a transfer from New Mexico State before that. But yeah, he looked good. Him and Bishop, nice 1-2 punch there. Peyton Lewis looked powerful too. I mean, he straight up ran over a Syracuse linebacker on his way to the end zone. So
there you go.
That running game looks nice. The receivers, I think, still have a little ways to go. They're gonna have. I mean, they gotta get tougher coming across the middle, catching the ball. Like I said earlier, when the ball hits them in the hands, they're going to have to catch it.
As far as, because you mentioned 3 running backs there, Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, and Peyton Lewis. Just from obviously it's going to be more than a season, but from a 1-game sample, who do you say looks the best as far as a Devy asset for you right now?
I think the Devy asset of the 3 is Peyton Lewis. Just the prototypical size, and he has the speed too. The other 2 I think are kind of smallish. You're probably looking max 200 pounds, with both Bishop and Star Thomas, whereas Peyton Lewis, you're looking, the guy's going to get up to 215, 220 and be able to carry that weight pretty well.
Okay. Nice. So definitely be able to look out. He was the one that could sneak in and progressively get more, but it looks like they have a 3-headed monster there in Tennessee, which is always nice at that college level. See people eat, not just 3 heads just taken away from it, but they're all actually doing good. So you love to see that there. Now, Indiana, number 20, did beat Old Dominion 27-14. Fernando Mendoza didn't have a touchdown in the game. It was really more so looked like a defensive game for that, just to make sure they stood in there and got some points on the board as well. Roman Hemby, someone we talked about earlier, 23 carries, 111 yards. Also backed it up with 1 catch for 9, so didn't really get big in the receiving work. Fernando Mendoza, someone that has been in talks, just for Indiana. What were your takeaways from this game?
I think this game was just go out there and just get a win. Old Dominion was never really going to pose much of a threat to them. So there was really no need to go out there and showcase everything you got. I think Fernando Mendoza is an upgrade over what Curtis Rourke was for them last year. He had a good season at Cal last year too. So him throwing to Elijah Surratt, I think is going to be a really nice connection throughout the season. Today was just really all about Roman Hemby, though. Yeah.
I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So I mean, their running game was working. Might as well just keep pounding there as well. And I agree. That's just a game against ODU. One, you just gotta win. You don't want to really start off slow or anything. Just go out there, play ball, and win big. And that's kind of what they did. They were able to make some big plays happen left and right for them as well. And speaking of games that you just gotta go out there and win, Penn State actually faced Nevada, and they had that win mentality, 46-11 there. What were your thoughts overall for Penn State?
Yeah, just one of the go out there, kind of do what you got to do, get out of their type of games. They didn't really do much offensively. They didn't need to. They just kind of did what they had to do, and kind of pound the rock a little bit. Made some throws, just nothing spectacular. Just kind of a ho hum type of day for them.
Yeah, they were able to utilize Trevor Pena, out there with 7 receptions, 74 yards as well. The running backs both got below 10 carries, but again, it wasn't something that they needed to necessarily heavily rely on. Still had over 100 yards on the ground total for the team. Katron Allen, Nick Singleton both did what they had to do just to move the chains and be able to make those plays. So, as far as a Devy perspective, I don't feel there was much to really see. It's just like we already knew this. Let's continue on and see what next week brings as well. Aller, 217 yards and the touchdown. Did it again? Needs to really show off, but he got the job done when he needed to make the throws there. Moving on, another big one, and this one was actually exciting because Georgia beat Marshall 45-7. Gunnar Stockton looked pretty nice. That was the question. Got some mobility to him, something. He was a mobile quarterback, but I never called him a mobile quarterback. I knew he could run, but it's nice to see he, had some big plays, got some touchdowns there as well, 73 yards on the ground, along with over 150 yards or so in the air. So still makes some big plays. It was against Marshall, but any thoughts there?
Yeah, Marshall's one of the worst teams in the FBS, so I don't really take a whole lot from that, other than Georgia is going to be what we expected them to be. They went in there, they didn't play with their food, they took care of business and got out of there.
Yeah. Zachariah Brants, is he back? He led the team right in yards and receptions, I do believe. Got a touchdown as well. But there was actually one that he put on the burner, something that we know him to do. The difference is what we saw the T's passes. It wasn't like one that they had to just have him go on and stretch the field. They kind of got him in early, and then he was the one that put on the burners and got the touchdown. Are you excited to see more of Zachariah Brants?
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him the first couple of years he's been in college.
Yeah.
He was at best wide receiver 3 at USC.
Yeah.
Now now we're looking at him potentially being the top option there at Georgia in the SEC. So he's definitely going to get the exposure if he has the production. 3 catches, 95 yards and a touchdown today. Again, that's against Marshall. It's not like they're a top-notch defense, but
right.
Still 3 catches for 30, for 95 yards, 31 something to, per catch. So,
right.
That's, still really good.
Big plays. And some of that was so high in Devy drafts a couple years ago, taking in the first round, maybe top 3, top 5, kind of went down. You dropped in some ranks. So if you have him and you held him, you're probably excited about it, because if this is a sample size of what can be, obviously you want more targets. Yards may, let's say, go down as far as yards per catch, so maybe he gets more of them as well with more targets, more receptions, and maybe some big plays and touchdowns as well. So definitely can possibly be a home run hitter. And if he goes out there and does it in SEC, now we're talking about him as possibly a high draft pick again, when we thought he was when he came in as a freshman. So excited to see what he can do moving forward. And I know Ryan Puglisi got in there as well. Gunnar Stockton looked like he'll be the guy, but they look nice to see Puglisi in there as well at the quarterback position. The big one, the other big one, I guess I should say, because we knew Ohio State, Texas, that was going to be a nice tight matchup. They were evenly matched teams. We're excited to see what they can do moving forward. One game we really didn't even talk about it previously, that how bad does Alabama losing to Florida State, does that, they're out the top 10, right? Because they're number 8. Is that, 31-17.
And they didn't look good at all. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't run the ball themselves. They put a lot of pressure on Ty Simpson, who he looked okay. He's not the most accurate guy, but he has escapability, which is good. But if they're going to have to rely on him to win games for them, it's not going to work out very well.
I don't think, did he throw over 50%? It had to have been. It was pretty bad. He did not.
Yeah.
He looked okay. It just looked.
Well, he looked okay for what he need. They have no running game, so them to be relying on a first time starter in a pretty hostile environment. There was a packed crowd and they were loud. But Ryan Williams didn't look good though either.
Hey, I just want to say, I called out a dip in Ryan Williams and a rise in Jeremy Bernard. And Jeremy Bernard looked like he became that guy. 8 receptions, 145 yards or so, and no touchdowns. But he definitely looked like he was that prime target. Not to mention just Ryan Williams. You got to think, same thing kind of with Jeremiah Smith. They now have a full tape of college ball on him. They can now go out there and watch that tape on him. They can know how we need to cover Ryan Williams, what we need to do to make sure he's not going to be open or bust open those big plays. That makes a difference. And now these players are understanding, hey, yeah, you were solid as a freshman. That's awesome. But now you have to adjust your game, finesse your game here and there because now they can watch you. They got film to go watch on you. Ryan Williams was a fantastic player last year. And I'm not saying he's not going to be. He's still going to be great. But, I mean, that's just go to show week one. Hey, man, like you weren't necessarily the star. I feel Florida State really had their answer for him.
Week one with a brand new quarterback. Yeah. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was returning with, with Jalen Milroe and, they had the, the same rapport or whatever, but it's a brand new quarterback. Kind of the same way with Jeremiah Smith, with, and Julian Singing, and even last night's game with Jackson Arnold and, Cam Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't necessarily look like they were on the same page either. But, week one, I think they'll get more in sync, but Alabama could potentially be in trouble. They can't run the ball, and with a new quarterback like Ty Simpson, they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah. This is gonna be. We're gonna be talking about this for a while. So I mean, they got to redeem themselves big next week. But at what point do you think the reins possibly get taken over for Ty Simpson? They bring in Mac or even Keelan. I believe Mac is the next one in line. But at what point do you think it may happen?
I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over at all today.
Fair.
So I mean, it's not like he was out there making bad decisions. He was just kind of off with his receivers today. He has good elusiveness. We saw him get away from several sacks today. There was a lot of pressure in the backfield on him, and he was able to escape a lot. So I mean, I think he's got skill and talent. I think they're just going to have to kind of build into it, a little bit more.
Right. Well, let's move on to the other side of the field because Tommy Castagnolo's transfer over from BC, Boston College there. 152 yards, but again, they just beat him on the ground, over 200 yards on the ground there. Not to mention freshman running back Usman Chroma, so we've been pumping the law about, had 7 carries, 31 yards, but still, it's nice to see him get on the field as a true freshman and really go out there and play it. What were your thoughts on just Florida State in general?
Yeah, Florida State, they just really grinded them to death. I mean, that was it. I mean, nothing special. They just kind of just ran it down their throat and, made them like it.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes, right? You just gotta make that happen, and that's old school, just great football. You love to see it, and that's what they were doing. Especially you think about Alabama, those old school Alabama teams. That's what they did, and Florida State just kind of said, "Okay, we're gonna beat you with your own medicine." There at that point.
And to Thomas Castellanos' credit, I mean, he said it all off season. Alabama can't stop him. Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban coming to save them. He took a lot of flack for that. He took a lot of heat for that. For saying those things, and turns out that he's goated because of it. He's gonna be looked at like a legend there.
Yeah. There you go. Shout out my guy CGAT Blitz. He's has his own Florida State podcast that he does. I'm sure he's super stoked about this whole matchup and what they did. But excited to see what they do. Florida State was not ranked. You think they're in the top 25 after this one?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I would say probably top 20-ish.
What do you say Alabama falls to? 13?
Oh man, they got to fall out probably lower than top 15. I would think. I mean, they're 8 right now.
Yeah.
I would think that they got to fall out of the top 15 at least.
Okay. There's no way they're out the top 25 because the thing is, like Florida State, they could have been ranked. There's a lot of question marks, but okay, top 15. I say about 13, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there on those. And then what I'm gonna do with my rankings.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see Florida State jump to like number 17 and Alabama like 18 or something.
Okay, just one ahead. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. We'll be excited to see what they do, especially if they continue that running type of game. If that's their identity this season, I'm for it. Let's get
it. In a pretty weak ACC, now all of a sudden they may be looked at as kind of a sleeper to make the playoff.
Right, for sure. Now, another one, though, we'll move on to the Big 12 here because Iowa State, Rocco Becht came back again. It's against South Dakota, but still 2-0, 278 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rocco Becht, I feel, still is not getting as much love as he possibly should. Any thoughts on Becht? I know it's not really big-time matchups. On Kansas State was one, right? Your Big 12, but now you go South Dakota. Any thoughts on Becht here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rocco Becht is just going to do what he's always done there. Just kind of be consistent, be a game manager. He's mobile. He's able to kind of make plays with his legs a little bit. Their issue is they just don't have the wide receivers there that are going to be able to support them long term. I don't think. So he's going to have to do a lot of this himself.
Is Chase Sewell hurt? I haven't heard anything about this. He's just not getting the.
He's just not getting anything. He played last week, against K-State. Was very, didn't do anything. And just a lot of the same this week. I just think he's kind of lower in the pecking order of the what everybody thought he was going to be.
If you don't need to use them, if you have that depth and you can use it, by all means. But I mean, Rocco Becht doing his thing, and it'll be interesting to see how he continues to lead Iowa State. Right now, to me, Becht is probably the only Devy asset necessary one out of Iowa State. I think there's potential.
Carson Hansen, I think I do think Carson Hansen is a legit Devy asset. He's probably a early day 3 type of pick at best, but you look at the guy, he's got the explosiveness. He's got the right, he's 6'2", 220. So, he has the right build. And he's, he makes explosive plays. He can get out of the backfield. He can catch the ball. I mean, he made that catch last week against K-State that iced the game, and it was a pretty impressive play.
Right. He's going to continue to try to be their guy there for them as well. They need that lead in the backfield. Could be him there. Yep. Now, our next one here is Montana State played against Oregon at Autzen. This was a big game as far as them just going to Autzen. Autzen's a great stadium there as well. Oregon looked really nice there too, though. Dante Moore, kind of feeding all around, 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing, 253 yards on the ground. The big news might be Makhi Hughes. They didn't get as much playing time. They really used their depth pieces there.
Did he get
one carry for 2 yards.
2 yards, yeah.
It really came out everywhere. Dan Lanning did come out and say, they have strength in numbers, and that's a weapon for us. We want great experience for players playing above the line football. And I know the question is going to be, was Makhi Hughes banged up? I don't know if he was. I didn't hear anything about really disciplinary actions or anything for him either. I really think because it was this Montana State, they just said, we want to use our guys that are going to be rotated in and see where they're at. Outside Noah Whittington, he's definitely going to be the leader there. But they looked pretty good. I felt they looked more explosive than they did last year in their first game against Idaho when it was Dylan Gabriel. That's something I really said when Dante Moore's on the field. It's going to be a little bit more electric. What were your takeaways from Oregon?
My takeaways is that they're going to spread the ball around. There's not going to be one definitive guy. And I mean, you had Malik Benson, you had Gary Bryant, you had DK Moore. Several other wide receivers got involved there also. And then the running game where they have like 8 or 9 guys carry the ball. Yep. So, I mean, I think they're going to spread the ball around a lot. And that's going to hurt as far as CFF production goes. And you're not going to see what you want from guys like Kenyon Sadiq or DK Moore just because they may not get that volume.
Fair. Now, for that, I mean, does that hurts you more for CFF, not necessarily your Devy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any interest in any of the running backs in that rotational room? Like Makhi Hughes, we were talking heavily about him. Does he drop down a little bit because of that, or are you waiting to see how does next week go when they go against Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of take what Lanning said here to heart a little bit, I guess. That they, want to see what their quality of depth was. Now, if they come out and do the same thing next week and Makhi Hughes is still absent, then there's an issue.
For sure. No, 100%. Because Again, if maybe he's your RB1 on depth chart, then you don't necessarily use him because, like, let's just see, it's Montana State. But next week, Oklahoma State, they're not necessarily a slouch team. They can have some big hitters, big plays on that. So
Power 14. So
yeah. So you don't want to do anything. DK Moore did look good though. I will say that the Corey Moore, with his few, 3 catches, 26 yards. There was some big plays where he just sold his speed, sold his looseness, something we saw coming into camp. Gary Bryant Jr. 4 receptions, 31 yards as well, and a touchdown for him. Definitely spread the ball around. I think that's something they're going to try to do just to make sure there's not one focal point in that offense. I feel last year when they saw that and people really dialed into, they're only targeting this one guy. We're going to cover this guy and make everyone else kind of go lost. So a lot of things to see from Oregon because kind of scary. You didn't have one solid guy, but also kind of good. You spread it around. So I'll be interested to see what happens there. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as ranked ones, those were the ones for the big noon there. I do want to hit on this one because earlier, we had a game day, Devy game day, and you were on it as well. And you mentioned FAU versus Maryland. Caden Velkamp, you mentioned saw really good. His lights looks like prototypical size for a quarterback. Didn't look as great this week because he had 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. But on the flip side, But on the flip side, though, you mentioned also be on the lookout for this guy and quarterback freshman Malik Washington, who did look good, 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. Talk to us about this game. Anything that really caught your eye?
Yes, Malik Washington. He did a good job of spreading the ball around. Also, you don't see a whole lot of times, a whole lot of true freshmen coming in making their very first start throwing the ball 43 times. Right. He proved that he could come in, he could handle probably he could handle the spotlight there because that's what it was. The spotlight was on him there. Right. And he's shown, he did it well. 27 of 43, 258, 3 touchdowns, spread the ball around well. And he is the future of that program.
I was just about to say, just as you mentioned about Oregon spreading the ball, I mean, they really did too. No one really ran away with it, over 100 yards or, X amount, 7, 8 receptions like that. It was really spread around. Just goes to show quarterbacks like that. You like that because it shows they're scanning the field. They're not just going after their first read, their first target. They're looking through the field, looking through their reads, going through it all. Malik Washington really showcased that. FAU or not, it still is nice to see, a quarterback at that freshman caliber go out there and dominate there. I do want to highlight Pittsburgh quarterback Eli Holstein. I know it's getting stuck. Kind of looked a little heated earlier, but he came back, threw for 4 touchdowns, 15 yards. And then Desmond Reed also looked nice on the ground, 8 carries, 66 yards on the touchdown. Eli Holstein is just a Devy prospect I'm really looking forward to as far as his growth and what he can do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they're playing Duquesne. They're a nothing program, but I mean, Holstein did put up a nice game. Desmond Reed did too. Obviously, Desmond Reed isn't much of a Devy asset, but
small guy,
he's really small guy. I mean, he's 170 pounds.
Elusive college player.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying Dylan Edwards is a they're basically the same type of player. Yeah. But Eli Holstein, Alabama transfer. So I mean, he was a high 4-star, coming into college. So he has the pedigree, and he was healthy today, put up big numbers. A lot of the problem was last year after he got hurt. He tried. I think he tried to come back a little bit too soon, and not only did he suffer for it, but the team did too. And I think they lost 5 in a row. At one point last year. So but if he's back and healthy, then I think Pittsburgh has a decent shot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a long shot to win the ACC, but still opportunity if Eli Holstein comes out and just dominates there as well. Do want to bring up one more game in the big noon category there. Eastern Kentucky played Louisville. So we were a little bit lower on, as far as the rushing attack for Louisville. Isaac Brown really just again showcased his big playability, 6 carries, 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miller Moss out there for Louisville, 223, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Though, any takeaways from Louisville?
Yeah, Chris Bell, the wide receiver there. I think he has a pretty good. I think he has a pretty good shot at at becoming a next level player.
So,
He's, I'm not saying he's going to be a day one or day two guy, but he could be a mid to late day three guy. Possibly make a team. So I
okay.
mean, he's probably another guy to look at.
Yeah. No, definitely. He's been someone that's been on some radars as well. Possibly it could sneak into that day too. You always see receivers like him that could possibly sneak into that, depending on how they produce through the season and then what they end up doing in the combine realm as well. Those were big noon games that really took place that really caught your eye. Any Devy assets in general that you really got excited for? You're like, okay, we're back here.
Yeah, there's a couple guys over the past couple of days that have played. There's Emmanuel Henderson for Kansas. He really showed off his burst and speed. I know they were playing Wagner, but 6 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's going to be that number one target there for Jalen Daniels, who's looking great also, by the way.
Right.
And then Michael Trigg. We've been kind of waiting for him to pop off for the last couple of years. He just hadn't done it.
Yeah.
Then yesterday comes up, 7 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown for Baylor. Shows that Baylor has has multiple weapons there that they're able to use.
Yeah.
And Trigg being that kind of tight end mismatch there, that's kind of a big deal. He looks like he may be a guy that you may be able to pick up off waivers if your league has Devy waivers.
Right.
Then for Syracuse today, you seen Willis, who him and Jonte Cook look like they are that offense. Willis with 23 carries, 91 yards, and 3 tutties today. Granted it wasn't a loss, but he looked powerful. He has that kind of one cut ability also. So he's not just a plotter. He has ability, and that they do like to use their running backs there. So I bet you're going to see a lot of Yassine Willis.
Yeah, no, definitely some good shout outs there. Trig, I'm super stoked to see him because I know me and you talked back and forth about him for seasons, and now it's like, okay, you're healthy, you're on the field, you're able to stay on the field there, go out there and make some big plays. Him and Josh Cameron there as well could be definitely a nice 1-2 punch for the passing attack. And then
Cole
once
Wilson
they get Bryce
also.
Washington, Cole Wilson, I forgot he's there as well. So Sawyer Robertson definitely has targets there to go out there and make the big plays. Sawyer Robertson, quarterback you're higher on, as far as what the Devy asked and what he could do. Excited to see Baylor moving forward, even in a loss against Auburn. It was one of those. The loss it showed me more in the loss of what they did because I still liked what I saw. It was just Auburn put more points on the board, right? But it still looked pretty good.
Baylor just made some defensive mistakes that, Auburn didn't do anything special.
Right.
Jackson Arnold, he was just kind of able to run all over him a little bit. It's not like he threw up big numbers, passing wise. He just kind of was able to run on him a little bit. But Baylor offensively, I think it's going to be fine.
And then also, I want to bring up Tulane transfer over to Duke, Darian Mensah, 389 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just looks nice to see that at Duke. I need to see a lot more from him. Obviously, he did look good. Tulane, Duke ended up paying him. He's there now, has good arm, has good talent, able to run a little bit if he needs to. But it's going to be nice to see Duke have a quarterback that I feel they've been missing for some time as well. And hopefully Mensah goes out there and makes some big plays for them.
Yeah.
There too.
Yeah, then we got a couple of Arkansas guys here too. Taylon Green, the quarterback, 24-31, 322 yards and 6 touchdowns. Also had 9 carries, 9 carries and 41 yards. Then another guy we were talking up all offseason, Omega Blake. 7 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown. He is his main target. Wouldn't surprise me if he ends up with 90 plus targets on the year.
The guy, if your name's Omega, you gotta be the main target. Like you can't have a guy named Omega and not target him, right? Taylor Green, glad you brought that up because definitely someone I've been having my eye on moving into the season. Someone I will have my eye on that I feel really to sleep on gets at Arkansas. There's gonna be some games where it gets away from them, but at the same time, Taylor Green's one of those athletes that if he does enough, just let's say 2,500, 2,700 passing yards, 20 TDs. No more than 10 interceptions, has the rushing capability, does enough to get invited to the combine, goes to the combine. He can test really well, and all of a sudden, you start seeing him rise up because he does have that speed. You go watch the tape, he breaks away, and guess what? He's gone. He's a bigger quarterback too. It's not like he's just one of those smaller quarterbacks that has the speed. He's like 6'4", 6'5", running down there at you. Plus, he has that arm. I mean, Arkansas could be something interesting if they click like this the entire season.
Yeah, he's better than Anthony Richardson and the same type of player.
Yep.
To me, Taylon Green is the proven version of Anthony Richardson.
There you go. I like that. Proven version of Anthony Richardson. Green can definitely go out there and step up and do some big things for them. But that's an absolute buster, what they can do, him and Omega Blake. I think there's still plenty more to watch. Obviously, we're going to be watching some more college football as we progress and then breaking it down for y'all as well. Let us know if y'all have any questions as far as Devy value and everything. Because as you know, go to the Dynasty Trade Calculator, use the promo code DEGEN, DEGEN, and that way you get the first month free. Go in there, plug in your Devy value, see how you can get the best for your players as Devy assets to your pro teams. Go out there and win those leagues. We have all the values in there for you. And as you know, as season progresses, you might see some slight adjustments here and there. Simply if it continues on the trajectory of it wasn't looking good in week one, it's continuing to look good. Or maybe it looked great, and guess what? They're just going to start skyrocketing and rising our draft boards. Either way, Dynasty Trade Calculator, promo code DEGEN, DEGEN. But Tommy, it was a great week one. College football is back. I mean, for everyone here, happy Labor Day. Go out there, enjoy a good one day off. This week, I know football comes back as far as the NFL. Tommy and I will be dialed into college football. Follow him on X at Tom Harvey Sports, at my SC Romero at the PPR. So on X, we're here for y'all to answer any of y'all's Devy questions. But any last words, Tommy, as far as Devy football?
No, I mean, just keep watching. Just be here every Monday night at 9. If you have questions, watch the show, comment, send us DMs on over on X. There's ways to get a hold of us. We're always down to converse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For everyone at the Devy Degens, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, later.